Good afternoon, everybody. Like Russ said, my name is James Senecal. I'm Director of Solution Architecture in North America for Tricentis. Can't hear me. Attach it to my glasses. Yeah, thanks, Neil. That's the challenge.
I'll turn you up.
Audio technical difficulties. Give us 30 seconds. Is that better? Is that a little better? There we go. Try to do it this way. Okay. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to give you a quick demo of Tosca, all right? And we're going to be running against our iDOCs environment. And so,
Speak louder.
what?
I can't hear you back here. Speak louder.
Still can't hear me even into the mic. Even into the mic, you can't hear me. Even. I keep trying. That's going to be a lot of feedback. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you our new Tosca recorder. It is specifically designed for SAP. It's extremely fast. The concept behind it is that anyone in your environment can learn to build tests, right, for SAP. So what I've got is the Tosca interface is up and running already, all right? And I have my SAP environment up. I'm already logged in. So I will give you the caveat of we are on the Wi-Fi, so if things are a little bit slow, it's not my fault. It's all your phones hogging up all the bandwidth, essentially. So what we would do is in Tosca, we're going to start from the home, and we're going to click on Record, okay? And what this does is this turns on our recorder. And our recorder actually takes advantage of the scripting API structure in ECC, right? But you can also use this for any of the interfaces. So you could use it for Fiori, you can use it for Netweaver Business Portal, you can use it for any of the interfaces. The recorder works the same across the entire environment. So what you see here is in the bottom corner, right? We see that the recorder is up and running at this moment. And so what I would do is I would just go through and I would follow a normal transaction. So we're going to do a really exciting one. It's called a VA01. Anybody ever seen this? Ever? Ever? Nobody's ever seen this, right? It's the boring one that everyone does, but it gets the point across. So we're going to start with, it's a standard order, and we're going to put in our sales org. Make sure I got enough numbers there, right? And our division and distribution channel, and hit enter, okay? And Tosca is actually picking up every single action, right? It's also learning all of the technical properties around the objects that I'm interacting with. So when I'm putting data into a field, it sees that that's an input field. If I click a drop-down, it sees that that's a drop-down, and it will actually learn all of the enumerations within that drop-down as well. If I'm interacting with a table, you'll see from the recording, it gives us a very clear view of the table afterwards. So let's put in a sold to party. All right, make sure that runs through. Fantastic. Come on, Wi-Fi. There we go. All right. Let's put in some payment terms. That'd be good. And Incoterms. All right. And then let's jump into our material. And we'll go with a, whoops, have to be able to type, 415. Thank you. And we'll go with a quantity of 5 and hit enter. And Tosca is picking up every single action, right? So it's really important because now what happens is I can get a business user, someone who's an expert at their transaction, to actually record my test for me, all right? Now, notice that we ended up with a pop-up dialog. Tosca immediately switched to it, already knows what to do with it. So I just click OK, it picks that up, right? And now it's saying, all right, we're shifting focuses because it's seeing, it's all right? It's seeing that we're actually shifting from one window to another. So as dynamic windows pop up, Tosca can actually interact with those. And now I can go back to my project. And I end up with my recording example. And I'll just open this in a larger view so we can see it. And so now what we end up with is a test case that's going to have all of the properties. Let me go here, right? And we can expand it out, and it's going to pick up all the different actions that we went through and input, right? Now, what you'll see here is, as we're going through, Tosca sees all the different tables, it sees the drop down, it sees all the input fields. So now I can take this and immediately turn around and play it back, right? And I can do that in a couple of different ways. I can right click on it, and I can say run it in Scratchbook. Scratchbook is like a temporary testing space. Let me go back to my home screen here. Nope, I don't want to save that. Yes, I want to cancel. Come on. So now I'll take this test case and I will run it in Scratchbook. And like I said, this is a temporary execution space. Gives me the option to almost debug my test, if you will, right? Because as I'm going through and I'm recording these, there are times where I may have made a mistake, and I want to check it real quick before I put this into what's going to be now part of my regression suite or my integration suite as I'm testing. Now the cool thing that takes place here is you can see that we're waiting actually for SAP to respond. Tosca does dynamic wait, and that is I don't have to go through and define exactly how much time I need to wait. Tosca is actually waiting for the system to reply. So what happens is SAP, it may take 3 seconds one time, it may take 9 seconds the next time. I don't have to go through and define variations there. Tosca will automatically deal with that. You got a question, sir? Can it wait on a
batch job?
Yes. So you can actually set Tosca to learn different aspects. So if you want it to wait, let's say I want it to follow the status bar as it's transacting across the top, Tosca can learn based on that, or else it can say, all right, let me just wait until the system presents me with the next screen or presents me with the next object. And as we can see, we're killing the Wi-Fi here. And there it goes, right? And so now we end up with our pass down at the bottom. And here in Scratchbook, right, I can extend it out and I can see every single transaction and every single step that went through and exactly what was done, including any verifications or the log info. So this is a really easy way for me to be able to go through and have business experts actually create tests for us, right? Because there are a lot of times where the folks who are doing the testing in the environment don't always know the transactions that the business users are doing. So now this gives me that advantage of leveraging someone's expertise, right? And instead of them doing manual testing, we have them go through their job, right? And essentially that builds a test for us, and now we can go back and we can run that time and time again as part of our nightly build, or let's just say I've got transports going in. I didn't make sure that all my upstream and downstream tests are passing correctly. Any questions so far? Yes, sir.
Can it do any validations of attributes that are being entered?
Yes. So validation across the board at any point in time, and thank you for hogging all the bandwidth, everyone. As you can see, we're losing connection terribly on this Wi-Fi network. Yes, at any point in time, I can validate any point of Tosca in the test. So I could say, okay, I want to validate, when I hit save on the transaction, it gives me a order number. I can say, okay, validate that it actually gave me that the order was saved, and then not only can I do that, but I can also pull data out of that message. So as that message says, okay, it was saved, I can say, all right, give me the order number. I want to store that because my next test is going to be a VA03, and I want to take that order number and place it into my VA03 to validate it.
So the validation I'm talking about is you take an order through billing, you generate an accounting document, that it can also do validation of the accounting document?
Yes. Yep. Question, sir?
Can you use that on the RF devices or like the tablets used in the warehouse?
It depends. Yes, Tosca works on mobile as well. So it depends if they're Android devices or if they're iOS devices. If they're dedicated operating systems, then it depends. It just depends on what the underlying.
The standard ones which
Right, so a standard one, if it's an Android or an iOS device, then yes, you can. And the same tests that you create on a Windows desktop machine can be used in mobile, right? So if I wanted to take that test, I build it around, let's just say I build it around my Fiori interface that's running in the web. Now I can take that and I can run it on a mobile device as well. The exact same method that you would use in building a Tosca test is transportable across all the layers. So this is the simple result screen because I ran this in Scratchbook. When I run it in an execution state, let me see if I have a good execution list in here for you. So I can have an entire segment here. So as I go through and I schedule these and I execute them during the night, I would have a full report set here. All of this data gets put into the analytics engine. And so you can have folks who don't have to have the Tosca client. They can log on to the Tosca server and they would be able to see all the analytics from the tests that have run, the pass-fail rates, the power, things like that. And then there's also customizable reports that you can say, okay, I want to see everything. I just want to see what failed. I just want to see what I got a warning on, but still passed. So I can customize those reports to make sure I get exactly what I'm looking for. Any other questions? All right, fantastic. So this was a quick example of the Tosca recorder specifically for SAP. Again, Tosca runs across the entire enterprise, from mobile to mainframe and everything in between, right? Any technology, custom technology, homegrown applications, customized SAP environments, Tosca supports it all, right? So this is not just a one-trick pony. We can handle any type of testing within the enterprise. Thank you very much for your time. We're going to...
Let's hear it from... Wait, we got one more question.
One more question. Yes, sir.
Can you run that in bulk?
Can I run it in...
Yeah, without automated, can I run like...
Oh, yes. So I can integrate this with a bunch of different tools out there. I can schedule it. I can run them in batch. I can run them in sequence. If you want to take advantage of, for those of you who are in the, I would call it more of the development cycle of things, as we're looking to do more of a shift left, especially now with RFC and OData, we're going to do more testing on an API layer within SAP, and then we're going to do our GUI tests. Those are going to be moved to the back end. So we're going to do a lot more heavy-handed on the API side, so to speak, and then we're going to do a little on the GUI side, all right, whether that's browser, whether that's WinGUI, and we're going to set them all together. So that way I get my run of 5,000 tests tonight.
Yep.
Right, and then I can integrate that directly with Solution Manager 7.2. We are the only solution that is currently certified for Solman 7.2. So I can actually pull my requirements, my user stories out of Solman. I can configure all those in, build all my tests from that, and then turn around and have my execution called and come in the next morning and my testing is done for me. Not a problem.
Any other questions? Hey, let's hear it for James. Louder, louder. Remember, he loves margaritas. Bring him to him later.